But when you're living with somebody 24/7, it's easy to understand the hormone mistakes I was making when I was consulting women before I understood what I understand now. So this is my life work. This is why me and my wife wrote, Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? Because this is so important, because it was making her sick. And we did a lot of research. We went back to the GYN textbook, and that's what taught me how to properly implement hormone replacement. And I'm going to show you that today. So I'm going to tell you the 5 hormone mistakes that women over 40 make. And it's also, maybe my next podcast will be the hormone mistakes women under 40 make, because, women under 40 are always diagnosed with PCOS. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But I want to go over these 5 mistakes. One is all women thinking that they need estrogen postmenopausally. That is unequivocally, absolutely false. And I don't care who says it. I'll debate anybody about that fact. Okay. And we learned that with the Women's Health Initiative. Number 2 is not understanding adrenal function and cortisol and how that affects your life. The reason why we wrote the book, The Stress Connection, because we figured out just using bioidentical hormones, estrogen and progesterone, it doesn't correct everything. There is a certain number of patients who have cortisol issues, and it's a lot of patients over 40 or 50 because of the stressors they've been through, that cortisol is affecting their hormones. And if you don't correct both of those, you're never going to get the full impact of that balance. The third one is that women think that weight gain after 40 is just inevitable. You just don't know how many times I've heard patients come in at 50, 52 and said, for 2 or 3 years, they've been trying to lose weight and they can't do it. And I ask them, when did that start? And they always say at menopause. Now, the fourth one is using the wrong test. And that is really my life work, is that you cannot use blood. And I'm going to prove that, no doubt about it, and I'll prove it with the textbook. So this is not something that I've gone off on the rails and tried to prove myself. It's in the textbook. It's in the textbook. Okay. And then the 5th one is thinking that women need testosterone, or that testosterone for women is how you gain energy. And that's wrong. Testosterone is a male hormone. And the only thing it really does for women is to maintain their muscle mass, if that is a problem. So I'm going to explain all of that. But the first one I want to talk about, and I may spend the whole podcast just on debunking this myth, okay, is debunking the myth. Hey, Rebel, am I freezing?
Yes, you are. There you go. Much better.
Okay. So hopefully my internet will kick in. If I have to get rid of this background, I will. Okay. So
if you notice that you're free, if you think you're freezing, move the mouse around.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Thanks a lot. All right. So let's go to number 1. So estrogen. So thinking that postmenopausal women need estrogen. So let me just show you this one slide. Okay. And then we're going to talk. All right. So this is a 59-year-old postmenopausal woman. Okay. Now, I guarantee you that if she had a blood test, it will say that she has no estrogen. Now, let me tell you why that is the issue. The blood measures the estrogen that is coming from the ovary. Okay. Now, in menopause, the ovary stops working. It doesn't ovulate, so you don't make any eggs. That's why you can't get pregnant. All right. Now, the ovary shuts down estrogen production. So if you look in the blood for estrogen, you're going to see little to no estrogen. And I can't tell you how many women come in and say, hey, my doctor says I have no estrogen in my body. Now, that is absolutely impossible. I will tell you that God made it where even when you're postmenopausal, women have extra fat. At least most women have extra fat that produces estrogen. Okay, so your fat tissue produces estrogen, and estrogen produces more fat tissue. So you're in this vicious cycle. So postmenopausally, when you don't ovulate, what you don't make is progesterone. So let's just look at this. Okay, so this is a postmenopausal woman who was told she had no estrogen in her body. Well, her estradiol is 1.1, okay? And normal is 0.5 to 3.2. So she has estrogen and it's being made in her fat tissue. And some of it's made in her adrenal gland. It's a little gland that's right on top of your kidney that makes cortisol. So she has estrogen. Now, I told you that the key to longevity is balance. And there is a balance between estrogen and progesterone. And that balance should be in a 200 to 1 ratio. Okay. So let's look at her estrogen is 1.1. So her progesterone needs to be 200 times that. So what's 200 times 1.1? Rebel, I'm going to see if you can do that math in your head.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is 1.1 times 200 is 220. I'm going to make it easy for you. But that's how easy it is to understand hormone balance. You just need enough progesterone to be 200 times whatever the estrogen is that your body is making through your fat tissue postmenopausally. Okay. So that is how you get rid of your hot flashes, your weight gain, because progesterone actually helps you to burn fat for energy, while estrogen makes you store fat. So in menopause, if you stop ovulating, the only way you make a decent amount of progesterone is to ovulate. What happens at menopause in 100% of women is that they stop making eggs. So 100% of women stop making progesterone. 100% of women don't stop making estrogen. And if I have to say that every podcast from now to the end of time, that is what I am going to do. Because if I don't say it, I don't know who else is going to spread that information and debunk that myth. And I'm going to tell you why I'm so adamant about it. Because I talk to patients in the office, I show them this information, they understand it. They're doing great. They leave my practice, they go on Instagram, they go on TikTok, and they hear these other doctors who aren't OBGYNs. And even if they are OBGYNs, they don't do what I'm telling you to do. So I don't mean to be too aggressive, but I have spent 30 years trying to get this message out. I used to do it by going on conferences and getting on planes and in hotels, and that is outdated now. This is the new way to spread a message. So I'm going on TikTok, Instagram. I just feel like it's my mission to tell women that 100% of women stop ovulating, so their progesterone goes down. So here's how you do this. So I need to get this progesterone up to at least 220 so that this woman can start to feel normal again, so that she can start to lose weight, she can sleep, she can stop having hot flashes. I will tell you 80 to 85% of my patients are just on progesterone. So let's see what happens when you do this. All right. So I gave her 100 milligrams of oral progesterone, compounded slow release progesterone. Okay, this is when I retest her in 3 months. Now, her estradiol has gone down to 0.9, but that's no problem. Maybe she lost some weight because of the progesterone, so her estradiol actually went down because she has less fat tissue. But that's still fine. She's still in the reference range. I have her progesterone up past 220, and her progesterone estrogen ratio is 247. That is the key, is the ratio, the balance, the ratio between those two. So here her progesterone estrogen ratio was 24, which is much less than 200. And now her progesterone estrogen ratio is 247. This lady now can sleep. She doesn't have hot flashes. She doesn't have mood swings. She is back to normal. Okay. So again, if I have to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't care how long it takes, I need to get this information out, because I'm going to show you what happens when you look at blood levels trying to balance hormones. It does not end well. And it may go fine for a while, but when you're being overdosed with hormones, it taxes your liver and eventually it becomes a problem. You get overdosed and your cells start to be desensitized. So again, this is my life's work. If I have to say this, I'm going to say it at the beginning, and I'm going to say it in the middle, and I'm going to say it at the end. And I'm in an all-out war against misinformation that's on Instagram and TikTok